At 65 years old, Marie Osmond has lived a life full of music, love, triumph, heartbreak, and even deep confessions that continue to surprise fans. Born Olive Marie Osmond on October 13, 1959 in Ogden, Utah, she grew up surrounded by picturesque mountains, close-knit communities, and, most importantly, a family that was completely immersed in music. As the eighth of 9 children born to George and Olive Osmond, her life was never ordinary. The household was a constant hum of rehearsals, harmonies, and instruments. Her father was disciplined yet supportive, and her mother provided warmth, faith, and encouragement, instilling in the Osmond children a deep appreciation for performance and professionalism. Within this environment, Marie's voice stood out early on. Clear, sweet, and mature beyond her years, it set her apart from her siblings and hinted at the stardom ahead. By the time she was just 3 years old, Marie made her television debut on The Andy Williams Show. With her innocence, sparkling eyes, and natural stage presence, she charmed audiences nationwide. This early introduction to the entertainment world not only showcased her raw talent, but also set the stage for a career that would span decades. Soon, Marie became part of the Osmond family group, which included her brothers, Alan, Wayne, Merle, Jay, Donnie, and Jimmy. Together, they rose to fame in the 1970s, embodying the wholesome, all-American image that made them beloved across the globe. For Marie, this wasn't just a platform, it was her education. Performing alongside her brothers, she learned discipline, teamwork, and how to engage audiences on the grandest of stages. Her breakthrough came with the release of her debut solo single, Paper Roses, in 1973. At only 13 years old, she stunned listeners with the emotional depth and maturity in her voice. The song topped the country charts and crossed over to the Billboard Hot 100, firmly establishing Marie as a solo artist. Her innocence and sincerity captivated fans, making her one of the brightest young stars of her generation. Follow-up hits like In My Little Corner of the World and This Is the Way That I Feel showcased her versatility, allowing her to move between country, pop, and adult contemporary styles. Unlike many child stars who fade quickly, Marie proved her staying power, navigating the evolving music industry with grace. By the 1980s, her career entered a renaissance. In 1985, she released There's No Stopping Your Heart, an album that marked her triumphant comeback. Blending country roots with polished pop, the record resonated deeply with fans and critics, spawning multiple hits and proving that Marie could adapt to the times without losing her authenticity. A year later, her duet with Paul Davis, You're Still New to Me, topped the charts and became a fan favorite. Marie's crystalline voice, filled with sincerity and warmth, made every song feel personal, allowing her to connect with audiences on an emotional level. But Marie's talents extended far beyond music. She ventured into television, hosting her own daytime talk show, Marie, where her charm, wit, and ability to connect with people shone brightly. She wasn't just a performer, she was a storyteller, a confidant, and a friend to viewers at home. Audiences trusted her because of her warmth and authenticity. On the stage, she thrived in musical theater, taking on iconic roles such as Maria in The Sound of Music and Anna in The King and I. These roles demanded not only vocal skill, but also dramatic depth, and Marie delivered with grace and power, earning critical acclaim for her performances. She wasn't content to be known only as a singer. She proved herself as a versatile performer, able to move seamlessly from concert halls to Broadway theaters. Behind the spotlight, Marie's personal life was just as eventful as her career. She experienced love, loss, and resilience in her relationships. In 1982, she married basketball player Stephen Craig, with whom she had her first son. But their young marriage struggled under the pressures of fame and ended in divorce just a few years later. In 1986, she married music producer Brian Blissell, and together they built a large family, raising 8 children, 2 biological and 5 adopted. Her decision to adopt reflected her compassionate nature and her commitment to giving children a stable and loving home. Though her marriage with Blissell lasted over 20 years, it ultimately ended in divorce in 2007. Yet, in one of the most remarkable chapters of her personal journey, Marie remarried her first husband, Stephen Craig, in 2011. Symbolically, she wore the same wedding dress from their first wedding decades earlier, a powerful gesture that highlighted her belief in second chances, forgiveness, and enduring love. But perhaps the most shocking and emotional revelation from Marie came when she spoke candidly about Andy Gibb, the youngest of the famous Bee Gees brothers. To the public, Marie and Andy appeared close, almost inseparable at times, with their youthful charm and musical chemistry delighting fans. Yet Marie later confessed that she truly hated him, more than anyone else in her life. "I could never understand him, and that made me furious," she admitted. On the surface, Andy was charming and universally adored, but privately, Marie saw sides of him that disturbed her. Moments of cruelty, insincerity, and manipulation that clashed with the golden boy image the world loved. This duality tore at her emotionally, leaving her frustrated, hurt, and conflicted. Marie explained that her hatred wasn't rooted in jealousy, but in self-preservation. She described feeling as though Andy could disarm her with his charm, only to wound her emotionally without realizing it. Or perhaps, she suggested, realizing it all too well. "I hated him because I had to," she confessed. "It was the only way to protect myself." Beneath her anger was an acknowledgement of love, a dangerous, overwhelming love that frightened her. To survive it, she needed to build a wall. And for her, that wall was hatred. The paradox of loving and hating someone so deeply left her emotionally drained, but it also taught her powerful lessons about boundaries, authenticity, and protecting her heart in an industry filled with illusions. Marie Osmond's story is one of extraordinary talent, resilience, and candor. From a child star raised in one of America's most famous musical families to a seasoned performer who conquered music, television, and Broadway, her journey has been anything but simple. She has navigated personal struggles, professional reinventions, and the messy contradictions of human relationships. Through it all, she has remained open, authentic, and unafraid to share the truth, even when it reveals painful emotions or contradicts the public image people expect.